We are inside Sky Dome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, getting set for the final game of the season for both Eric Wedge and the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's take a look at Eric's final starting lineup. It's brought to you by Dodge. Get somewhere, grab life by the horns. Dodge. It begins with Coco Crisp in center. Casey Blake is at third. Wind up of a great rookie season this afternoon for Jody Garrett. Ben Broussard is at first. Chris Magruder is in left. Travis Hafner DHing. Tim Laker will catch today. Johnny Peralta at short. And Angel Santos gets the start at second base.
Let's check out our scouting report for Josh Towers. He has the fastball, slider, a curve, and a changeup. And his nickname is Control Tower because he has unbelievable control. Just 6 walks on the season. As a starter this year, 8.5 strikeouts to just 1 walk as a starter, and will give it up. He has given up 15 home runs in his 56 2/3 innings, and that's one thing. When you're around the plate, you're going to challenge hitters. Some may leave the yard, but he's done a nice job. 7-1 this year for the Toronto Blue Jays, and won a career high 6 straight decisions for them, and he was just into that rotation in August. The defense behind Josh Towers stacks up this way. In the outfield from left to right, it's going to be Johnson on left, Wells in center, Kelty in right. It'll be Berg at third. Bordick, second best career fielding percentages all time as a shortstop behind Omar Vizquel. Hudson at second, Delgado at first, and Cash behind the plate.
So we're set for the final game of the regular season. The Indians come in with a record of 68-93. A team batting average of .254. The Tribe has scored 697 runs, hit 157 homers, stolen 85 bases. On the downside, they have made 126 errors, but the starting pitching ERA 5th best in the league at 4.19. So some good numbers there for the Tribe. This young group, the Indians have used 54 players altogether, 18 rookies. Right now, 16 rookies still on the roster. Coco will lead it off. Just 1 hit so far on the road trip, and he is hitless in the first 2 games of this series. The Indians winning Friday, Jays winning yesterday, and a bouncing ball to second base. We are underway, and that is out number 1. A ground ball to shortstop as Bordick throws him out. So 1 pitch and 1 out. Indians need to win today to get a split in the season series between these 2 teams.
They go 11-5 on AstroTurf this year. They played pretty well on the turf in domes.
Josh Towers, 26 years old, 6'1", 190. You look at his numbers, Rick. The reason his ERA is almost at 5, most of that came out of the bullpen. So he was roughed up a little bit, but he's been very effective as a starter.
Well, slight of build. He's not very big, about 188 pounds. He was released last year from the Baltimore Orioles and then signed by Toronto. This is his 3rd time up this year, and he went out and pitched his best game of the year against his former team, the Orioles, where he went 7 2/3 innings, had 9 strikeouts in that ball game.
Casey fouls it off. The count remains 1-2. It's Paul Schreiber calling the balls and strikes this afternoon. Angel Hernandez at first, Randy Marsh is at second, and Sam Holbrook at third. You see a 153rd game for Casey Blake, and he is aboard. The Indians will have the first base runner. The Indians jumped in front in the first inning yesterday.
That is the 4th batter that Towers has hit. That's what Casey's sitting up there. Wait a minute, this guy's supposed to have control. What's he doing hitting me? But he will trot on to first base.
It's the 4th batter that he has hit this year. Josh Towers, 15-14 with 2 complete games and 1 shutout in his major league career. The Indians have a base runner, Jody Garrett, coming up. Takes the first pitch for a strike on the inside corner, and I think we're back to the generous strike zone. It wasn't that way yesterday, Rick. The strike zone was pretty tight of Sam Holbrook in that ball game yesterday.
Yes, it was. You had a couple of guys that have very good control, with Halladay winning number 22 and Mulholland, who did a nice job yesterday.
Bouncer foul down the first baseline. Lou Frazier coaching there. Buddy Bell not with the team this weekend. So Jeff Datz is the bench coach, and Joel Skinner, of course, is at third. You see the rookie rankings for Jody Garrett. He has been solid from the first day he came up.
Solid and very consistent.
Ground ball to second base. They'll go to second for 1, on to first. In time, double play. That takes care of the Tribe in the top of the first. Toronto, because the Blue Jays have made a change. They have taken Carlos Delgado out of the lineup. after his first inning grand slam.
Well, he had a tough day.
Yeah,
One swing of the bat, 4 RBIs and a home run.
And ground ball to second base. Over to first for Tom Wilson is playing first base. Let's take a look at our updated RBI leaders.
Well,
in
he's
the
going to
major
win
leagues.
it, I would think, unless Preston Wilson gets up and has a big day for Colorado. But what a year for Carlos Delgado. 145 ribbies. Look at Tomey's up there, 131. I think in the 2 players that are tied at 124, Richie Sexton is one of those.
So a short Sunday afternoon for Delgado. There is Wilson playing at first base. Chris Magruder is at the plate. He takes a strike. Chris 1 for 7 in the series, and he lifts a fly ball foul down the third baseline. Ben Broussard grounding out to start this inning. So Towers did hit a batter in the first, but was helped out by a double play. Cliff Lee had trouble locating the first 3 hitters, 2 walks, hit batsman, and then the home run. So all of a sudden it was 4-0 Toronto. Swing and a miss. 2 down. Towers.
Well, one field trip that your students will never forget, a Jacobs Field tour. You can get a guided behind-the-scenes tour of Jacobs Field for your school group, and you'll see a lot of the parts you do not see on TV, anywhere from the batting cages all the way up to the press box. All your support goes to CIC, so call 216-420-4400.
Ball 1 to Hafner. And if you were with us on Tribe Time, you saw the awards handed out. He was voted best nickname.
Bronk. I don't know how you could take pride in that nickname, really.
Well, he does. He said he lobbied for it among his teammates.
Okay. Back about 25 years ago, they'd be fighting for it if they called him that.
That's probably true. Fouls it off.
But he likes it.
2-1 the count.
Part project, part donkey.
He is 1 for 7 in the series. DHing this afternoon. Two and 2.
How about that comeback yesterday by the Detroit Tigers?
That was amazing,
down
wasn't it?
8-0 to the Twins. They win it 9-8
on a strikeout wild pitch.
That's right. They scored on a walk-off strikeout.
Only the Tigers could do that.
So now the most they could lose, they've got their what, 42 wins. If they lose today, that's 120, so they won't surpass the Mets.
Maybe they won't tie them either.
No, you know what? They played 2 more games because back then the Mets they only played 160 games.
Fly ball to left field. And the Indians are gone quickly in the second. We'll head to the bottom of the second. Hitters 8, 9, and 1 coming up for the Jays. Conversation between pitcher and pitching coach. Very shaky control problem so far for Lee, leaving him shaking his head a little bit. You know, he wanted to finish strong this afternoon, but got off to that rocky start. Gave up the grand slam in the first.
Well, what happens with all the pitches, it's going to limit him in this ball game. You know, take him probably away from the 7th inning. But all he can do is put zeros on the board until his offense can, first of all, get their first hit.
Here's Tim Laker, has not played in a while. And he hits it sharply to the second baseman, knocked down by Hudson, recovers, throws, and did not get him. Let's see how they score that.
That ball was hit right on the nose. That would have been a tough play off this carpet. That's going to go as a base hit for Tim Laker. You'll see it's in between that ball on the carpet. It's not as easy as it looks right there. And this ball, it's got a little more spring than it does the grass. So Laker beats it out. It'll go as a base knock.
So Tim gets the inning started with an infield single. Here's Johnny Peralta. Takes a called strike 1. Certainly Johnny has gotten to play much more than anybody thought this year with the injuries to Omar Vizquel and John McDonald.
Yeah, they just projected him to be in AAA, John, and that was a stretch. They didn't know how he would react or handle that pressure moving up the ladder at 21 years old. But I'll tell you what, he's handled it well up at the big league level. I thought he was going to really, when I first saw him that first week, overmatched offensively. And I never really had an opportunity to see him play defensively, but defensively he did not embarrass himself at all.
Takes that pitch for a ball. And you look at his numbers, they're very impressive. He's played solid defensively. This is his 77th game. Omar Vizquel played in only 64 games this year. High fly ball center field. Wells is there, keeps moving back, carries fairly well, and it's out number 1.
Well, if you want to continue your baseball season, you can do it in January, and you can do it at the Cleveland Indians Fantasy Camp. That'll be held in Winter Haven, January 17th to the 24th. Good week, held by Commissioner Bob Feller, who was always down there. Call K&M Productions, 888-588-1975.
Here's Santos, switch hitter, getting the start at second base in the final game of the season. Takes the ball downstairs. Others to thank around the ballpark: Bob Chester, Frank Villada, and Chris Clay, working the video department.
Guys, sure, they tape all the ball games. They're held up down underneath the ballpark. Of course, Chris has been wearing out Doug on the basketball court this year.
Yes, he has.
You hear that? How fast
I heard it.
Back. Come on.
I witnessed it several times. Doug held his own, though.
Doug's going on a crash course this winter to the center school.
Is he?
Yeah, Akeem Olajuwon Center School. Yeah, exactly. He's going to learn how to post up, throw some elbows.
Now, Denver and Minnesota are the places where the basketball contests usually occur. There's a base hit through the right side. Laker at second will hold up there, so the Indians have 2 on with 1 out. Santos a single into right field.
Found that hole between first and second, and you're not going to go first or third on the turf, not on a ball hit that hard. That looked like a little sinker away. Kept his hands back nicely, found the hole. So now the Indians with an opportunity to get on the board.
It's Coco Crisp, who grounded out to short to start the afternoon. Who are your picks in the National League now that the playoffs are set there?
Well, that's pretty good. Chicago goes into Atlanta, plays on Tuesday, and then you'll have who's going out to San Francisco?
Let's take a look at what is coming up.
Well, by the looks of it, you'd see there you got Chicago over in Atlanta Tuesday, Wednesday. They're off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So Florida's at San Francisco.
Right. I like the Giants over Florida. I'd like to see the Cubs go beat Atlanta. I don't know if they will.
Bouncing ball to first, foul. And in the other series, in the playoffs in the National League, it starts at San Francisco Tuesday, Wednesday. Friday, Saturday at Florida, and then back to the West Coast if necessary.
I think I'm going to take San Francisco and Atlanta.
Okay.
And San Francisco to win it. How about your picks?
I'll take the Cubs and the Giants. And I'll take the Cubs to go to the World Series.
Good.
It's time. Now, I know you like Boston in the American League.
No, I like Boston over Oakland and New York over Minnesota, and I think it'll be a good ALCS, and maybe Boston will beat them.
And there will be plenty of excitement. I think the key, though, for the Red Sox is to get that first game out in Oakland if they can. Fly ball, not deep to left field. Johnson coming in a bit. Coco's out, number 2. And we want to extend a special hello and welcome to those of you who've joined us on Orwell Cable TV and Adelphia Cable. Glad to have all of you along. Our final telecast, 150. Two down, 2 on. Indians trailing 4-0. A strike to Casey Blake. He was hit by a pitch his first at bat. It was the 10th time that Casey's been hit this year. He matches the total of Hafner. Those are the guys who've been hit the most often on this Indians team this year. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. Indians trying to chip away at that 4-0 lead. Had a notion, but laid off. It's 1-2.
Casey Blake, originally selected by the Blue Jays back in 1996 in the 7th round.
Taps it foul at home plate. So still looking at a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Casey in his first real chance to play every day in the major leagues this year. He's responded very well.
Well, and there was times when you figured he could use some days off or things down the stretch, but they weren't able to give it to him. So this has been a little bit different playing down the month of September. Go along with Jody Garrett.
Casey had the great spring training, made the ball club.
Played in 152 games, so all but 10 games for Casey Blake, and that's a good year.
If you were with us on Tribe Time, you know he was voted by his teammates as the best card player and the best golfer.
Yeah, the best gambler. I had an opportunity to play golf with Casey
he is a good
couple
player.
times. Yes, he is.
Hits it pretty far, I'll bet, huh?
Yeah, he can be consistent when he's on.
Breaking ball outside. So the count goes full at 3 balls, 2 strikes. And the runners will be on the move. The Indians trying to get back in this ball game after the Delgado grand slam in the first.
Well, find a gap out there on this carpet and you could cut the lead in half.
Right center field. Coming on is Kelty. He'll make the catch. That retires the side. The Indians strand their first 2 runners. We'll head to the bottom of the 3rd. The Jays on top. Inning number 4 on this final game of the 2003 season. A season that has seen the Indians use 54 players. Fly ball, right field. Kelty shades his eyes and puts away out number 1.
Well, fans, have you ever wondered what it would be like to sit right behind home plate? Well, the Indians have great sitting locations available for next year, and they have been accepting deposits for the upcoming season. You can call 216-420-HITS and reserve your spot on the priority list and give yourself the best shot at getting those good seats.
Ben Broussard grounded out to second, his first at bat. Jody Garrett making the first out here, now 0 for 2 in the ball game this afternoon.
I remember back when this place used to sell out, and they used to draw over 3 million fans. A lot of the Toronto people would come up to Cleveland to get tickets and watch their Blue Jays play, and vice versa.
Well, and then when that began to change in the later 90s, it was the Indians fans coming up here.
Exactly. Coming up here for a nice little weekend. Not a bad drive.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count on Ben Broussard. And we want to thank all of the players for their cooperation this season. And of course, Eric Wedge.
That's a lot of thank yous. Yeah, 54 of them.
Yeah, we're not going to do each one. But Eric Wedge and his staff, Buddy Bell, Carl Willis, Joel Skinner, Jeff Datz, Eddie Murray, Danny Williams, Louis Isaac, of course, Dave Keller.
The trainers, Paul Spacuzza,
Rick Jameson.
Ricky Jameson.
Soft line drive to second base for the second out. And of course, Tim Maxey and Jim Mahalik. Tim is already down, I guess, in the instructional league.
Yes, he is. Someplace where I think Eric Wedge will be going down next Friday.
That's right.
They'll have some meetings and things to go over down there, which the Indians will be back in Winter Haven, Florida next year. Actually, for the next 5.
You're going to get it warmed up for him with fantasy camp down there, right?
In January. Yeah, the instructional league will end probably sometime in November or right at the end of October. I think it's about 6 weeks.
Indians trailing 4-0 as they bat in the 4th inning. That's outside. Magruder struck out his first time up. That's the only strikeout so far today for Josh Towers, the 26-year-old native of Southern California. He had a rough 2002, didn't he? He was 0-9 at Rochester, 0-3 for Baltimore. Didn't win a game.
Well, he was claiming that he had arm problems, and when Baltimore let him go, he was a little upset because he figured that nobody ever asked him or said that he was gone, and they released him. And that's before Toronto came over and signed him. And like I said, he pitched his best game against his former team earlier this year, but since he's been back in here at the beginning of August, he's done a nice job in the rotation.
One of his last 5 decisions as a starter.
You know, this is not a bad club to pitch on because they're going to get you some runs, you would figure, more times than not.
Yeah, if you can hold the opposition to 3.5 runs a game, you're going to get a lot of wins for Toronto.
You should get a lot of wins with everybody if you hold a team to 3 runs a game in this league. .892 runs scored this season by Toronto. That's a strike. Hafner flied out to left his first time up. It's Magruder at first. First walk by Towers. The Indians have a base runner, but down 4-0 as they bat in the 4th inning. Just 2 hits so far for the Indians. Singles by Laker and Santos. Fouled away. Now Travis will have to battle back. He's down in the count, of 2 strikes. He's been that way a lot in this series. Yesterday having a tough day against Halladay, striking out 3 times.
Well, Halladay has good command, and he has a great curveball.
Yeah, he does. What do you have? 206 strikeouts on the year.
Fly ball center field. Moving to his right as Wells, and the Indians are done in the 4th inning. Bottom of number 4 coming up. We'll see the bottom third of the Blue Jays order with Toronto on top in the final game, 4-0. Blue Jays did their damage in the very first inning this afternoon. We're now in the 5th. It'll be Tim Laker, Johnny Peralta, and Angel Santos. Laker got an infield hit his first time up. Takes a breaking ball outside for ball 1. 150th and final telecast here on Fox Sports Net. Ground ball left side and through. So Laker is 2 for 2. Good finale for Tim.
Well, yeah, you get an opportunity because, you know, with Martinez up here, he's been playing a lot, and Josh Bard's been swinging well. So when you get your chance, the veteran says, I'm going to take advantage of it. So he's now 2 for 2.
Hits are even at 3 apiece now. Here's Peralta, flied out to center his first time up. Batting with Laker at first. Tim a short lead. And Laker voted the funniest player in the Indians clubhouse.
He says he doesn't tell jokes or anything. He just got a quick wit.
And he's got the needle out, not the Bill needle, the Laker needle out a lot. But certainly congratulations to Tony Burke with the help of Lisa O'Leary for a terrific job on Tribe Time this year. With Andy Baskin, Jeff Phelps, Bill Needle, and Matt Underwood. Enjoyed their award show. Especially the fact that they were in the envelopes.
Yeah. The round of applause for who voted.
Leadoff man is aboard for the Indians. They bat in the 5th inning. Another fly ball high to shallow left field. Coming in is Johnson. Peralta's 0 for 2. He's flied to center, flied to left.
Well, fans, there's never been a better time to become an Indian season ticket holder. The front office has begun accepting deposits for the 04 season with great seat locations available for both full and partial season ticket plans, and it starts at just $240. You can call 216-420-HITS for details.
Here's Angel Santos, singled through the right side his first time up. This is a carbon copy so far of the second inning for the Indians. Line to third, back to first, not in time. The Laker able to scramble back after Santos lined it out to Berg. 2 down. Laker led off the inning with a base hit into left field, but he's still at first with 2 down now as Coco Crisp bats for the third time. And Coco's 0 for 10 in the series. Lakers running.
Look at that.
They're not paying any attention to him at all.
You talk about the element of surprise. He was playing behind him at first. I'm not so sure Josh Towers realized that. But Wilson was back there. He took off, and Cash couldn't even make a throw.
And Laker will get his second stolen base. Gets himself into scoring position. Just the second time the Indians have had a runner in scoring position in this ball game, and the Tribe so far is 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position.
Well, the Indians 2 runs or less in 6 of their last 8 games, so they have not been hitting with runners in scoring position or hitting the ball much at all, really.
That's off the foot, foul. Well, it was the start of the season and now the end of the season that's plagued the Tribe. They started 7-20 the first month of the season, and they're 7-17.
Yeah, not much better
in September. In between, not bad, right around 500. But you got to play all 162.
Yeah, but for the most part, they've been in almost every ball game, to be honest with you, John, with that pitching, that the way it's improved this year. An ERA of 4.19 coming into this game. Last year, 4.91.
That's a ball.
And when you look at all their pitching categories, they're so much better this year than they were last year. As far as giving up runs, 767 coming into today. They gave up 837 last year.
And you also have to factor in they used 29 different pitchers this year.
I mean, for the most part, I think Carl Willis did a terrific job with this pitching staff. I really do. He's worked with a lot of these kids, communicated with them. And remember, he wasn't even, you know, going into spring training. He wasn't supposed to be the pitching coach.
No.
They had to get rid of Mike Brown. But Carl has done a good job.
Runner second, 2 down. Tribe trying to break through here in the 5th inning at Skydome on the final Sunday of the regular season. And they will with a base hit to right field. They're going to try to score Laker. Here comes the throw from Kelty to the plate. Not in time, and the Indians get on the board. So the first hit in the series for Coco is a big one, and Laker, who got a single, stole a base, and scores from second on the base hit by Coco.
That's what you want to see Coco do, hit the ball on the ground, especially with this turf. So he went down and got a low pitch and found the hole between first and second, and there was no doubt Joel was going to send him with 2 outs. And Lakers scores easily. So the Indians on the board now 4-1.
We're in the top half of the 5th inning. And the pitch to Casey Blake is high. Casey is 0 for 1 and 0 for 9 in the series. You see his season numbers, very solid for Casey Blake. Here's that base hit into right center field. Coco will motor to third. Well, the Indians making some noise will bring the tying run to the plate here with 2 outs. In the person of Jody Garrett. Back-to-back 2-out base hits, and the Indians a chance to cut that lead in half. As Crisp and Blake get their first hits of the series, and that's going to send Gil Patterson to the mound to have a word with his starting pitcher. The Towers running into some problems for the first time, and there is now a left-hander loosening up in the Blue Jays bullpen.
Well, usually for the Indians, when they happen to get a 2-out base hit, it seems to take a lot of pressure off to the rest of the team, and the way it's gone this year, they can continue to do that. So we'll see if Jody can keep it rolling.
Indians are trying to battle back, and it's a full-blown conference in the mound. The only one who's not there is Wilson, the first baseman, and he's visiting with Casey Blake. Now the home plate umpire, Paul Schreiber, will break it up, and we'll get back to business here in the top of the 5th inning. A 2-out RBI base hit by Coco Crisp, then the base hit by Blake, and the Indians have another chance. There is Henriksen in the pen, the lefty.
Former basketball player. Yeah, I was going to say it sounded funny. It looked like he got a piece of it.
I think he did, and the home plate umpire caught it. Other way, it was Henriksen who was warming up, who started that game on August 31st, where the Blue Jays handed the Indians the ball game in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Indians salvaged the 3rd game of that series at Jacobs Field with Toronto. Again, he got a piece, but he's down in the count now. No balls, 2 strikes. Runners at 1st and 3rd. Indians trying to creep closer, down 4-1. Paying more attention to Casey Blake. They didn't pay any attention at all to Laker, and he stole second base and came around to score.
Well, the first 2 pitches they tried to tie him up. Maybe he's going to throw a breaking ball here, and they think he may run with a man on 3rd.
And again, they go over. All the Indians' hits this afternoon are singles. They had 2 of them in the 3rd and 3 here in the 5th inning. Jody Garrett just 1 for 9 in the series, flied out to right his last time up, and also grounded into a double play in the 1st inning. Pulls it foul. Count remains 0-2.
They do not want to give Jody any swinging room. That was a little slider in on his hands after a couple of fastballs in there. And not a bad idea, because yesterday Roy Halladay started him off that first pitch with a fastball up and away, and he rocketed it off that right field wall. I can't believe that ball didn't go out. It hit right off the top.
It hit the top of the wall
and bounced straight up.
It came back into play. When I first saw it, I thought maybe it hit the back wall and came back in, but it didn't. It just hit the top of the wall and came back in play. The Indians put together 3 straight doubles in the 1st inning to take a 2-0 lead. Eventually lost 5-4. Garrett hits a ground ball to second base. Hudson up with it, throw to first, and that'll do it. The Indians strand a couple, score their first run. Midway through, it's a 4-1 Toronto lead. Well, it might be the end of the day and the career for Mike Bordick as he comes out of the ball game to a little bit of a curtain call. He went out to his position, and then Woodward came out to replace him, so he is finished for the afternoon. But we're not. It's the 6th inning. The Indians are down by 3. Popped up to short. So Broussard is retired. He's 0 for 3. He grounded to second, line to second, and this time he pops up to short.
Well, Indians pleased to present the Jacobs Field 10th anniversary box set. It's a treasure chest of Jacobs Field history, and it features a hardbound book, 5 full-length DVDs, and a memorable moments audio CD. And this is a limited edition and a numbered set. So if you want to pre-order yours today, 1-800-38-TRIBE.
Strike call to Magruder. Walked his last time up. The Indians in the ball game have 5 hits. Toronto has just 3. There's Woodward, who takes over at shortstop for the Jays. And strike 2. One of the interesting situations for this ball club next spring, Rick, is going to be in the outfield. There's a fly ball to center field. Wells coming on, and he'll have to play it on the hop. He broke the wrong way to start and could not recover and get the out. So Magruder gets a base hit. Let's take a look at our Corona Extra miles away from ordinary. This day, 1941, Ted Williams went 6 for 8 and a doubleheader to raise his average at 406. Started the day at an even 400. Relax and enjoy an ice cold Corona Extra.
How about that?
That's
6
amazing.
for 8. And the story says that, you know, they asked him if he wanted the day off or something like that to stay above 400. He said,
Hafner takes a ball. Travis has flied out twice, once to left, once to center. And now just 1 for 9 in the series. The Indians are down by 3. It's 4-1. Toronto got the first inning grand slam from Delgado, and that's been it. This could be a double play. There's one, and Magruder is in the rundown, and he's out. Well, that will do it. The Indians are done in the top of the 6th inning. We will see Wilson, Phelps, and Kelty when we come back for more Tribe Baseball on Fox Sports Net. Ready for the 7th inning this afternoon at Sky Dome in Toronto. Been a pretty good day so far for Tim Laker. He has 2 hits, stolen base, scored a run. 4-1. Jays leading. Indians bullpen goes back to work. 3 good innings of relief for Santiago. Just 1 hit allowed.
Josh Tower on cruise control.
He's been helped by a couple of double plays. One in the 1st inning, another in the 6th inning. He has scattered 6 hits and given up just 1 run.
Well, a no decision in his last outing against Tampa Bay, but he has been on cruise control today. He's won 5 out of his last 6.
And Wilson made a good play and banged his leg up a little bit, but he stayed with it and made the catch for the first out.
Well, that's padded over there down on the field. It almost looks like a camera bait, but then he's got to retrace his steps to come over there and took it away from a fan. You'll see the padding, and there goes a glove up, but his is a little bit bigger, and he does hit that right knee. But they are padded.
Here's Peralta. He's flied out to center, flied out to left. He takes strike 1. Josh Towers has 1 complete game this year. Pitching into the 7th inning, allowing just 1 run, and the Toronto bullpen is also working. Check swing roller back to the mound. Out number 2. Final Wendy's trivia question for the 2003 season. Remember the Wendy's late night pickup window where you can eat great even late. Last time teammates won Cy Young MVP awards in the same season in the American League was 1993. Name the 2 players. 1993.
I think we can do that.
Of course, last year was Zito and Tejada out in Oakland who corralled those honors. Two down, bases empty. Angel had a base hit in the 3rd, lined out to the 3rd baseman in the 5th inning. 1 for 2 today, and he flips that one foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count. 26-year-old Josh Towers has been in control. Well, he had a problem in the 5th inning when the Indians put together 3 hits, 2 of them coming with 2 outs, and that's when the Tribe scored its run. Jays scored 4 in the 1st before making an out. A ground ball to first. Wilson gets his 2nd put out of the inning. Excuse me, his 3rd put out of the inning. It's 4-1. Bottom of the 7th is next. First pitch, a called strike to Coco Crisp. We've got the top of the order for the top of the 8th inning. The Indians have even more work to do. They had pulled to within 3, getting a run in the 5th, but then 2 runs for Toronto in the bottom of the 7th, expanding the lead to 6-1. Fouled away. Coco got the base hit with 2 outs that drove in the run. And a good start for Josh Towers.
Another good start is right. 5 consecutive wins for him. His last start was a no decision, so he's got a chance to end the season 8-1 and winning his last 6.
That is just his 2nd strikeout of the afternoon. First out for the Indians in the 8th inning.
I told you he had great control. He's only walked 1, but the thing that he has had to work on, there goes another changeup, was his off-speed pitches. He had no problem spotting his fastball and throwing him for strikes even last year when he was with the Orioles. It was the off-speed pitches he had to work on.
Line towards center field off the bat of Casey Blake. No problem for Wells. He's right there. 2 quick outs in the 8th inning.
Well, the Jacobs Field 10th anniversary box set is out and about. If you would like it, they have a good hardbound book, 5 full-length DVDs, and a memorable moments audio CD. It is a limited edition. It's a numbered set. So if you want to pre-order yours today, because they go on sale November 17th, call 1-800-38-TRIBE for details.
Here's Jody, 0 for 3. Takes a called strike 1. Towers had only one problem inning. That was the 5th when the Indians got their 1 run. Other than that, he's just been in control. Helped out by a couple of double plays. He has scattered 6 hits. Trying to pick up his 8th win. And there's a base hit the other way by Jody Garrett.
That's what makes that kid so consistent right there, John. There's a ball. He's down to the count. And what's he do? He gets a pitch out over the plate. He doesn't try and pull it. He makes contact, stays on it, and goes the other way. Look at that pitch. That's got to be off the plate by 3 or 4 inches. But he just stayed on it. That's a nice approach. So he will get his first hit and probably end the year with a base hit.
Here comes the manager, and that'll do it. So the pitching change coming for Toronto. A good start for the young Josh Towers here, but he is finished. 6-1 is our score. Stay with us. We'll be back to Sky Dome.